King of Podcasts Radio Network proudly presents the Broadcasters Podcast. Here is the King of Podcasts.
You know, I've been wanting to go ahead and talk about this for a few weeks, but the thing is that this ongoing story of the Rap Battle Royal 2024, all these rappers going after each other and attacking at will. It's been so much to keep up with, but I think this is a good point to go ahead and start talking about it now because, wow, there's a lot of stuff that's happened. But it's been fascinating. I remember people were complaining about the fact that there was not one rap song, I think, in 2023, or if there was, it was a long time since we saw any rap songs hit number one on the Billboard Hot 100. And it's true. Like, it's been very quiet. But this year, whew, you know, think about it. We had Travis Scott had an album, and I think Gunna had an album, and I was trying to think who else had albums last year. Kanye, that just didn't have that kind of spunk. That really didn't have that kind of momentum. But this year, oh my goodness, it's been wild. Because we've had diss tracks that make it up to the number one spot. I'm like, what is going on? And I think it all started with Megan Thee Stallion's Hiss against Nicki Minaj. And I'm like, I think that's where we all started all of it. And it's just been going on ever since. And now we have the biggest names in rap now all going after each other. And some from the woodworks we haven't seen in a while. Drake right now is getting arrows from every side that you could imagine. But he's also been fighting back. It's all of it here. And it's like, it really has been amazing. So Drake right now is the most targeted, the most polarizing figure in the entire rap war, because obviously he's been on top for a long time, but you know, a couple of his albums recently have not been hitting as high as they might have been. We've talked about that before. You know, we talked about the whole thing with all this thing, right? And then we had R&B artists like Chris Brown coming out of the woodwork and also putting out rap records. I'm like, oh my goodness, I didn't even know he could do the rapping, but also attacking Quavo, right? You got Drake against Metro Boomin and Future and Kendrick Lamar and Rick Ross. I'm like, what is going on here? But it's been wild and it's been wonderful. Like, it's entertaining as hell. And I must admit, I've been enjoying all of it. So I'm going to take from a story real quick from Billboard that really, they do encompass all the things going on. Because right now, the biggest story is that there's like this elimination of Drake. And I don't even count J. Cole in the mix, which I even forgot he's also part of this too. But everybody's going after Drake right now. They're piling on this guy. It's been incredible. So, yeah, I'm going to go after this real quick because we can go through a lot of things here where we can look at who made what. But this has been something amazing. So into this rap story, the rap civil war, they call it. And like I said, it all starts first with Megan Thee Stallion versus Nicki Minaj. That was the first of the run of all this here. And then after that, I think that's when everything else just blew up. Because it's like, what in the world's going on here? All right, it goes back to February 1st. I want to take that and then we'll go into the story about Drake and the piling on of him. So it all starts, okay. You have Megan Thee Stallion putting out Hiss and Nicki Minaj putting out Bigfoot. That goes back to February. So January 29th, Nicki Minaj had a lone single out called Bigfoot, a diss track to go up against Megan Thee Stallion's new song Hiss. Well, Megan Thee Stallion's new song hit number one, I believe, and that did not happen with Bigfoot. But the thing is that it's the level of vitriol that's going on with these rappers that are deciding to go after it. So, of course, there's going to probably be some language in this program, so just keep in mind of that. But anyway, Hiss touches on various aspects of Megan's tumultuous life as a public figure. In one line in particular that catches Nicki Minaj's attention, she writes, "These hoes don't be mad at Megan. These hoes mad at Megan's law." And Megan raps fervently over a boosted beat. "I don't really know what the problem is, but I guarantee y'all don't want me to start." Megan's law, federal law requirement, requiring law enforcement to make information available about registered sex offenders. And that is a diss on Nicki Minaj's husband, Kenneth Petty, who's a registered sex offender. So that coming into the way as it is. That was the first shot across the bow of everything that was going on in the rap beef. Now, there's a battle against Kendrick Lamar, and multiple other artists are going after the OVO captain. And in response, Drake has framed the lyrical warfare as a 20 versus 1 contest. He's ready to take on multiple opponents at once. It's basically the battle royal. So that lines have been drawn ever since Kendrick Lamar's scorching verse on Like That, which is a #1 song that was featured on the Metro Boomin and Future project We Don't Trust You, spending 3 weeks on the Hot 100 at #1 until Hozier's Too Sweet just took over on the chart. More opponents have rallied alongside him since then. That's Rick Ross, A$AP Rocky, and The Weeknd have all chosen her side and aligned with Kendrick, as well as Kanye West, who previewed a scathing verse against Drake in the unofficial Like That remix. That's a lot of people to go after, but let me tell you, it's exciting. And all these records that are coming out, they're good. They're entertaining. They have spice to them. There's something behind it. So in the story they say here, Justin LeBoy spoke with Billboard, or actually he spoke with Kanye West, and says, quote, Future called me and I went to the studio and laid that. We went through the creative process of adding the chords and called the hooligans out and lugging to get on the joint. Everybody was very, very energized about the elimination of Drake, end quote. The age-old saying that idols become rivals rings loud and clear for Drizzy, as some of his heroes like Ross and Ye have turned their backs on him, seemingly in hopes of watching his empire crumble. Well, hey man, Drake's been up there for what? I want to say 15 years now? Was it 2009, 2010 that he first really made it on the scene? And, what are you going to do? So we have from Billboard their list detailing everyone involved in the rap civil war and their respective roles of taking down the sixth god. Rick Ross is one that, of course, I have an affinity for because he's a South Florida guy. And he comes in, goes on social media, and films himself playing Kendrick Like That verse. It threw many people off because there was a rich history between Rick Ross and Drake, partnering on very many hip-hop classics, including DJ Khaled's I'm On One, Ross's Aston Martin Music, and Stay Scheming. Then Drake releases Push-Ups, and Ross was caught in a line of fire as his, quote, Gold Roses collaborator noted he was the one who gave him the most prominent Hot 100 entries, including Money in the Grave, Lemon Pepper's Freestyle, and I'm On One. I can't believe he's jumping in this N-word turning 50. Every song that made it on the chart he got from Drizzy, spewed Drake. And then Ross's retaliation comes in 3 hours following the leak of Push-Ups on his record, Champagne Moments. And Rosé says, rapping, flow is copy and paste. Wheezy gave you the juice. Another white boy at the park want to hang with the crew. Calling Drake white. Oh my goodness, man. And then Ross and Drake escalate to social media, exchanging shots ranging from who has money and bigger property to Ross's weight to Drake's alleged cosmetic surgeries. What? This is wild, but this is what we have. Metro Boomin and Future with a big album, by the way, and a couple of songs definitely making it up to the top of the charts. So Metro Boomin, his skirmish with Drake actually began when the producer chose not to include the rapper in the song Trance from his Heroes and Villains album. And he had an interview with DJ Drama's Streets is Watching Radio. Metro claimed the song, which ultimately featured Travis Scott and Young Thug, was already done and didn't need an additional verse. Right. Mm-hmm. Drake always gets a verse on records. Come on, he's always kind of featured somewhere. Metro says that he really wanted to get on it, but I was letting him know that it was already really just done for real. I was really just set on how it was. I was like, bro, I ain't trying to sell you no dream. I'm locked in where it was. He had hit me and was just like, let me see if there's anything you could add to it. He was like, if you don't like it, then whenever. Despite the misunderstanding, Metro appeared on Drake and 21's album, Her Loss, as a co-producer alongside David and Eli for their song More Misses. However, things got rocky when Metro tweeted and deleted the following when speaking on award shows honoring Her Loss over his album. Quote, yet Her Loss still keeps winning up Rap Album of the Year over H&V, proof that award shows are just politics and not for me. And then he writes also, I don't care about awards, honestly. The true award and reward is knowing that the music I spend so much time on brings joy to people's everyday lives. And then Drake issues a message that some believe was aimed at Metro, quote, and the rest of you, the non-believers, the underachievers, the tweet and deleters, you guys make me sick to my stomach, fam. He said during a live stream. And then Metro seemed unbothered, and it wasn't any issue between him and Drake, but Metro took pot shots at Drake on Instagram and Twitter the last few weeks. Drake ultimately calling him out on push-ups, rapping, Metro, shut your hoe ass up and make some drums N-word. He also clowned him on social media using clips from the film Drumline to punctuate his points about him focusing on his production. Plus, there's a funny meme out there about, Drake getting a mariachi band to sing the same words in that song in this, which is funny. Kendrick Lamar is part of this group. Most significant piece on the board, and Drake's actual opponent in this battle. These two rap heavyweights were once a fantasy when they first appeared. Collaborating on records, beginning with Drake's 2011 Buried Alive interlude and Take Care to Lamar's Poetic Justice from Good Kid, Mad City. Things went hard when a testy Lamar sought the crown and sniped the entire rap industry on Control. Naming all his peers, including Drake and the song's creator, Big Sean, Kendrick let it be known he was gunning for supremacy. And then Lamar and Drake would throw cheap shots here and there, but nothing game-changing. And then, like that came out, and Lamar threw a line causing a frenzy in the hip-hop world as he denounced J. Cole's mention of the Big Three from First-Person Shooter, rapping, "Motherfuck the Big Three, N-word, it's just Big Me." And Lamar's onslaught continued as he pummeled Drake's with more jabs, referring to his best work as a light pack, and as inferior by rapping Prince outlived Mike Jack. Oh boy. In the weeks after Like That, Drake comes back with push-ups and then a newly released tailor-made freestyle. He implements the use of AI. And now here's a new controversy going on. Drake's use of AI was a bold take. He wrote and recorded all three verses and then started using software to mimic Tupac and Snoop Dogg on the record, Lamar's Heroes. And now there's a big whole deal with Tupac Shakur's estate over the use of this AI technology to use Tupac on a record. That's another issue in itself. Then you got The Weeknd. Meanwhile, Future Metro Boomin are getting another ally in the Drake takedown, a fellow Canadian rapper artist, and The Weeknd against Drake. The Weeknd has skewered Drake and gloated about never having the sign for OVO at the beginning of his career. Quote, "They could never diss my brothers, baby. When they got leaks in the operation, I thank God that I never signed my life away." And like with rappers on the list, Drake pulled the trigger on his former collaborator, Weeknd's manager and business partner Cash on push-ups. Quote, "Yeah, I'm the sixth god. I'm the front runner. Y'all and manager was Chubb's little blunt runner. Claimed the six, and you boys ain't even come from it. And when you boys got rich, you had to run from it. Cash blowing, able bread out here tricking. Shit we do for bitches, he's doing for N-word." Now, back in 2011, Drake tapped The Weeknd to appear on Crew Love, Over My Dead Body, and The Ride. And The Weeknd had an opportunity to sign with OVO, but he opted to forge his own path and turned down the deal. Sounds like he did pretty good by doing that. And then there's A$AP Rocky, which, okay, he's been married to the billionaire Rihanna for a while, and I haven't heard anything from him. The only song I really liked that I really enjoyed was Fashion Killer. And I know people are really big on that song, but there's something about that really does do well for me. I like it. So Drake ignited the spark against A$AP Rocky when he came out after Rihanna and his single Fear of Heights in 2023. And we always thought Drake and Rihanna had a thing together, but obviously there's been a falling out there. Quote, singing, I'm anti, yeah, and the sex was average with you. Yeah, I'm anti because I had it with you. Before Rocky and Rihanna became an item in 2020, Drake and Rihanna dated off and on and later called it quits in 2017. Then Rocky joined Future Metro's brigade on Show of Hands to wallop Drake. His lines call out Pluto Metro, should have put me on the first one. N-word, swear they bitch the baddest, I just bagged the worst one. N-word, they feelings over women, what, you heard or something? I smashed before you birth, son. Flacco hit it first, son. I don't get this, but anyways. Rocky and Drake's former friendship dates back to when the Sixth God brought him along with Kendrick Lamar on his 2012 Club Paradise tour, and he guest starred on Rocky's single F Fucking Problems with Lamar and 2 Chainz. I'm surprised that other artists didn't decide just to get in here. Let's just start battling each other because it's obviously good for business. Let's not sway away from the fact that this is not the reason this is all happening, okay? Rap has been in a lull for a while, and there has not been a lot of good rap coming out. So the heavy hitters of the industry are now coming at each other, and they have resurrected rap. We have a revival of rap music now that we hadn't seen in a while. I don't know what this is going to do and how this is going to bring up, but the truth is, this is the kind of the rage that rap brings. This is what rap kind of, encompasses. That, there's an edge to it. And it's not just gun flexing, and it's not brand flexing all the time, and it's not just about sexual innuendo. We get this. And this works, and people are responding to it, and people are enjoying it. So rock on. Future, who they were together quite a bit on working on records together. And Drake and Future now, they're decimated after We Don't Trust You dropped last month. Many believe Future threw subliminals in his one-time partner in rhyme from the onset. The title track is full of clever barbs, including "You N-word, a number one fan, dog. Sneak dissing, I don't understand, dog. Pillow talking, ain't acting like a fed, dog. I don't need another fake friend, dog. Can't be about a hoe, cause we sharing, dog. In your feelings, N-word, why you playing, dog?" Not only did OVO loyalists find Future's alliance with Lamar Judas-esque, considering his familial ties with Drake, but when The Weeknd and A$AP Rocky appeared in the album sequel, We Still Don't Trust You, he watched both parties send volleys towards the Sixth God. Drake pounced on his old pal when push-ups dropped, as some insisted that these lyrics were aimed at Future. Quote, I can never be nobody number one fan. You first number one. I had to put it in your hand. Jesus, man. So Drake and Future go back to 2012 when Drizzy jumped on the Tony Montana remix. And since then, they went on tour together, the Summer 16 tour, did a collaborative album, 2015's What a Time to Be Alive, have multiple Hot 100 songs that charted very well, big time. Future's 2020 single Life is Good, and Drake's 2021 chart topper Way Too Sexy, which was Future's first number one on the chart, the Billboard Hot 100. And then Kanye West, Yee. So there's been a long feud between these two, and a new chapter now added when Yee joined Metro Boomin, Future, and Kendrick Lamar on the remix for the song Like That. And so Yee unveiled his verse, which included darts thrown at J. Cole and Drake. Quote, Kendrick spazzed out. That was the best he gave you. But you knew y'all had to save the best for later. Y'all so out of sight, out of mind, out of sight. I can't even think of a Drake line. And then Yee's venom doesn't stop there. He lambasts Drake during the interview with Justin LeBoy, calling Lucian Grange, the Universal Music CEO, his rich baby daddy. I love this shit, man. Quote, he's like, my daddy got it. My daddy controls the spins. My daddy's got the DSPs. Drake has a rich baby daddy named Lucian, according to Yee. Future reached out to him for the verse. And then Yee's back and forth reaches apex with a rivalry with Pusha T, including a seething diss song Duppy, where Drizzy similarly called out Kanye for ghostwriting songs for him, including 2016's 30 Hours. And years later, Drake continued throwing darts at Yee on songs like Sicko Mode and 7 a.m. on Bridal Path. Now, one of the members that was not put into this rap battle, that was in it and then left in a number of days, was J. Cole. And he's been, marked for controversy as well because of some things that he said. So Kendrick and J. Cole have yet to wake up from make a rap form dream reality with their long alluded to collab album, but staying in communication on wax in other ways. Kendrick handling hook duty on Cole's Under the Sun, and that there was a time they did a beat swap and freestyle over each other's song on Black Friday. Cole and Drake, meanwhile, have always been upfront about maintaining a real friendship outside of rap, but finally doubled down on what that was on wax with not one, but two collaborations last year, and Cole joining Drake's nationwide tour for several dates. This is from GQ, by the way. Drake mused that the next 10 years will be the time for him, Kendrick, and Cole to really show and prove who's built to last. Cole made the subtext plain on a 2021 freestyle over Drake's then new song Pipe Down, rapping, quote, some people say that I'm running third. They threw the bronze at me behind Drake and Dot. Yeah, them N-words is superstars to me. He leans into it even harder in his verse on Drake's first person shooter with love when they argue the hardest MC. Is it K-Dot? Is it Aubrey or me? We, the big three, like we started a league. And then on Like That, Kendrick is feeling a lot less kumbaya. He writes, motherfuck the big three, it's just big me. And then dismissively observing that N-words clicking up. earlier in the verse. Some could argue the song also functions as a J. Cole diss as well as Drake. And then J. Cole, he goes along and would respond to Kendrick Lamar with 7-Minute Drill, a diss track more notable for Cole admitting that he doesn't want to really go there with his one-time friend than any especially vicious jabs. And the internet spent the weekend debating if J. Cole's heart was really in it. By Sunday, he would go on stage at his Dreamville festival to confirm just that. He would retract the diss, apologize to, and bigged up Lamar, and even vowed to say out of it, even if Kendrick should respond to Drill. So all this comes into play. But then that's the one story we have out of this. Is this Drake versus the world feud? The other one has gotten so much attention and has been fantastic to go and read about. If you enjoy this kind of stuff. Quavo and Chris Brown. I didn't know we were going to get this one, but this has been amazing. This is the one that's like, I see even more than just what Drake's going with right now. And this is because Chris Brown and Quavo, I guess in one way or the other, they had dated Sweetie. I'm just getting as much as I can to learn about this, but back on Monday this week, April 22nd, as I record, Quavo came out with a record called Over Hoes and Bitches, a DJ Jarrell produced offering that featured a posthumous appearance from Takeoff. And the Migos alum responded directly to Brown's weakest link with jabs about the R&B star's family relationships and conflicts. Now, before I get into this part, I need to go ahead and take the part about weakest link because that was the one that was like, oh my goodness, this is really going off. So here's what we got. Chris Brown on Friday of last week, he unleashed the song Weakest Link. It's a rap. And the cover art left no doubt he is still engaging in a back and forth with Quavo. He uses a photo of Quavo eating a hot dog. Coming out of the blocks, Brown opens the track with a voice that appeared to be that of the needed artist, saying that he had no interest in fighting with his industry peer. After repeatedly asking who wants to smoke, the high-energy performer drops his first verse. Quote, Quavo talking like he a thug, N-word, you bitch with dreads. Can't wait until the day that you back up all the shit you said. What's all that boss shit you talking? You ain't no huncho, N-word. You the weakest out of your clique. Out of your clique, let's keep it a hundo, N-word. Grammy Award-winning Chris Brown. And I didn't know Chris Brown would be able to go and get a chance to go ahead and put this out there and get noticed because, he's had a lot of shit going after him from the Rihanna days. And he's never really been able to go and get to a certain level because he's been kind of held back. Let's just say it like that, Brown switches gears and seems to allude to have an intimate past with Sweetie, which notably dated Quavo for 3 years before their split in 2021. You fucked my ex-ho, that's cool. I don't give no fuck, little N-word. Because I fucked your ex when you were still... And I can't do this justice, by the way, because the rap was just so strong. Because I fucked your ex when you were still with her, bitch. I'm up, little N-word. They say revenge is sweet. Now think about that shit. Don't let that line go over your head. I might just sing about that shit. And Sweetie seemed to acknowledge Brown's track as it heated up social media with a simple tweet. She wrote, quote, let me go rewrite these 90 verses. 90 is the latest single she's been teasing since late March. It's unclear when the track will drop. Oh my God. So now Quavo and Brown's feud has been going off since April 11th when the singer switched musical lanes and issued some hard-hitting rhymes against the Migos member for being linked to Karrueche Tran, who she's been around all over the place. A beautiful girl, but obviously she is just a lightning rod for controversy about who she's with and who she spends time with, just saying. So there's a single called Freak featuring Lil Wayne, Joyner Lucas, and T Grizzly. Brown spits, okay, fucking my old bitches can make us equal. Sipping at 1942 because I don't do no Cuervo. Freak bitch. She's like Casamigos, not the Migos. Wow. And then the rapper responds with his new single, Tender. Returning the shots fired, he rapped, you did the bitch wrong, now the bitch gone. She posted with a thug, call the bitch phone, she won't come home. Don't beat her, it must be the drugs. Need to cross out your plug. This shit is like, they are all at each other, man. This is like really something. Now, as I said, Quavo comes in here and more from his here with Over Hills and Bitches. He writes, pussy N-word, pull up, crash out about your bae, little bitch come dance battle with my drac. You've been fucked up your bag when you punched Ree in the face. Talking about Fashion Week, you sparing who? Come punch me in my face and ain't none but a fade. You know you lost a Frank Ocean, N-word here in your house, tied up your aunt because you ain't pay. Oh my goodness. And the cover for Chris Brown being on here being choked out by Quavo, that's not helpful either. And then Brown responds to over here to Hoes and Bitches through a series of posts on Instagram stories. Google Raps, that shit is poo. Damn, and I was excited. That shit don't even need a response. Take off, rap better. Oh boy. Oh boy. This is like incredible stuff. And I'm amazed this is all going on among all these record labels being allowed to go and have all this happen. These singles go out. I mean, I guess, the record labels, hey, they'll take anything right now. If these rap records are going to come out as singles and they're going to get some attention, I guess that's okay. They're not albums coming out. I mean, the Metro Boomin album was, and it's gotten a lot of press for it. Unfortunately, now that album's going to go by the wayside because it's going to get swarmed and destroyed by Taylor Swift and the Tortured Poets album, which is going to take over, it looks like, the top 12 songs at the top on the Hot 100 this coming week. That's another thing that's going on. So it gets crazy. And then here's the thing you got. Okay, Suge Knight, who is in prison, by the way, he made a comment about about Chris Brown. And Suge Knight actually said, if Chris Brown's bag is down, he should start rapping because he's a lot better than you, a lot of you rappers. My money's on Chris because he's the best singer, dancer, rapper, and fighter. Others made note of Brown's comments to Quavo during multiple appearances on Revolt's The Crew League. And, people are they're like, Chris Brown might have won this battle because we didn't expect Breezy to beat Quavo, but that's what we have. This has been wonderful to look at. And everything about it, there's a lot of press from it. And you know what? The music industry the music press can't help themselves but talk about it. They all got stories about the rap war. Complex, Forbes, Billboard, XXL, a Guardian had, like, everybody's all taking on it. Like, why not? It's fascinating. And for whatever it is, this year's the reason everybody's doing it. And I don't really know if there's like an emotive or a modus operandi as to why it all started, but we've been on this for a while now, and it's wonderful to see. Like, I've really been enjoying it. So we've seen charts of people like that are asking, hey, how good are the disses and all this stuff? And unfortunately, I can't play any of this stuff at all, so it's unfortunate about that. So in The Guardian, the talk here is about a lot of rich guys arguing. The rap beef of the decade, The Guardian calls it. Now, as I said here, one rapper is accused of being derivative while another is being mocked for his height. This jibe leads to another join in and accuse the taller man of having buttock implants. Oh boy. Who is doing that? Stop it. Fourth man decides to join in but quickly retracts his comments for the sake of an easier life. And it goes on. A feud labeled as a civil war in U.S. rap, despite many of the lyrics so far leaning towards playground level insults. But this is, we like this stuff. They're saying in the story here, it resembles the fiery combat that culminated with the mirrors of Tupac and the Notorious Big in the mid-1990s. But for Alphonse Pierre, rap critic at Pitchfork, he says it's much more like a lot of rich guys arguing, comparing the situation to 50 Cent beefing with 90% of the industry when he released The Massacre in 2005. And he says it will stick to songs rather than result in real-life violence. Which, yeah, I don't see anything seriously coming out of this that's going to be much more repercussions than just words. I think that's all we're going to get. And I do believe that's true. Now, April has been the coolest month in terms of diss tracks for years. A major chapter in one of rap's most long-standing traditions, Boogie Down Productions' The Bridge Is Over to Tupac's Bloodthirsty Hit 'Em Up. The genre has always seen its biggest stars compete for lyrical supremacy using imaginative insults, and Pierre says the beats are good for creativity as new rappers such as Sexy Red and Glorilla come to dominate the conversation. Quote, this beef probably came around at a good time for slightly the older guard, who definitely needed a little juice. And he's telling it exactly right. And I believe that too. And as fans wait for a Lamar retort to Drake, some have spread fake AI made Lamar disses online with the intention of stirring up misinformation. And then, of course, there's Drake's fake AI West Coast legends. Some initially suspected his track push-ups as being AI created. And then every few hours on social media, someone posts a meme depicting Drake as a Marvel superhero and Thanos. Oh my goodness. That's funny. A lone god battling for survival against a squad of superhero peers, and Thanos, of course, ends up getting vanquished. But whatever the outcome, Crack cannot see the Drake era stopping anytime soon, they're saying here. And they talked to someone here that says, quote, I definitely think this is all about dethroning the king, but if it takes the whole industry to take down one man, then they're already admitting he's the king. This is amazing here. And you know who also benefits from all this? The podcasters. XXL puts a great story out because in all these shows that are very much targeted towards the rap crowd, towards, urban culture in general, they're all having a fun time in doing this right now. So the battle royale that's going on, they're saying that diss songs, social media insults, and interview digs have been norms in the past few weeks. Instead of being introduced to the public via Funk Flex bombs, mixtapes, and radio world premieres, much of the content has been disseminated versus popular streamers and podcasters. So podcasters and streamers are now the new DJs in the rap beef. So podcasting and live streaming are the new wave. Traditional media now competes with entertaining talking heads, opinionated former artists, and controversial content creators in the current media landscape. The impact of new age media has been most evident in the recent beefs. While fans used to wait for DJs like Funkmaster Flex, DJ Woo Kid, DJ Clue, The Drama King, DJ K Slay, or websites to premiere a highly anticipated diss record, podcasters and streamers are now the ones with juice, inside information, and access to unreleased material. So in the last month, this song is being levied back and forth between several rappers and hip-hop. Streamers and podcasters have been in the forefront. DJ Academics premiered the leaked version of Drake's Push-Ups, Rick Ross's Drake diss Champagne Moments, and Quavo's Over Hoes and Bitches diss at Chris Brown on his Twitch stream, and provided live reactions to stunned fans. And then Joe Budden and his podcast, he's announcing a lot of sourced information about the beast, some of which have turned out to be true, including news of Drake's Push-Ups diss before it dropped. Then there's Mal, the Roy and Mal podcast. They've been the source of information during this whole thing, revealing Drake's reaction to the fake Lamar diss song and has teased forthcoming records. Fans are starting to notice a change of guard. Now, here's the funny part about where some of these folks are getting their information. Joe Budden in April revealed that he gets most of his Drake intel from escorts. Oh, yeah, baby. This is wonderful. Talk about the Praise and Debauchers, my other program, right? Quote, I think most of my Drake intel today comes from my love of escorts. I'm not trying to be funny. The escorts just always know. The escorts are ground level to it all. The escorts are the CIA of the subway system. Criticisms aside, some bloggers and streamers avoid the PR rigmarole by having a direct connection to the artist or someone in their camp. Academics is one of the biggest supporters of Drake and claims he gets this information directly from the source. So this is everything that's going on. People making money off of it, taking advantage of it. It's been good for the rap business. And I can't knock everybody for doing this all here as a result of it. And it's been fascinating to watch and to enjoy and to get all part of this. And I'll tell you, I'm enjoying it. We could go on with all this and really just and have some fun, because this was something I didn't expect to go and see such a craze over in the last few weeks to see this kind of stuff going on. This is crazy and wild, but it's been so much fun. Let's just say it like that. It's been very fun to watch all this happening. So I can't complain about that. Now, the other story I could have talked about earlier to start off the night, I was thinking about it, but, it's like we've had some changes going on in terms of where we are in terms of the music that we have. I mean, just how we're listening to music, how we're discovering new music. And we talk all the time here on this program about TikTok. And now the new thing is that TikTok, unfortunately, now is under fire because of the fact that Congress has now passed in some legislation, which include a lot of spending to other countries for funding, whatever battles or whatever stuff that they're going right now. They're offering support through the federal government. What they also added into one of these bills was the ban of TikTok. And now TikTok has 9 months to find a way to spin off the platform to an American company, because of the issue is a Chinese-owned company, without going into the whole detail of that. But until something actually happens, I'm not necessarily going to talk about it too much, but hey, we mentioned it here. Why not? Before I get to radio news, I want to go and talk about Harvey Weinstein. That's another story that happened today that we got to talk about. So, Harvey Weinstein was effectively serving a life sentence when he was flown to Los Angeles to face a second trial on rape and sexual assault charges. And now the second conviction is now the only thing keeping him in prison after the New York Court of Appeals overturned his original verdict in a 4-3 ruling. And the court's ruling could now be used to bolster the appeal in California, which could set the former Hollywood producer free. So what happened was that in New York, they're saying that the reason the New York Court of Appeals overturned the decision is that the trial was prejudiced by extraneous testimony from witnesses whose allegations were not charged. And in the LA trial, it looks like the same kind of thing can be brought to that case as well. So Harvey Weinstein might be getting out of jail after all this time. So that's wild to see that too. But already one has been overturned. He is still in jail, and he still has to have a new trial in New York, but he'll still have the trial in Los Angeles. It'll also have to be a case in the same way. So he could get out of free at some point, but there's still a lot more red tape that has to go through before he gets to that point. Now, as you might remember, we talked about this back, in 2020, that his trial, the 71-year-old convicted sex criminal and former Hollywood power player, was found guilty for forcibly performing oral sex on a TV and film production assistant in 2006, raped in the third degree for an attack on an aspiring actress in 2013, and was serving out 23 years at a Rome, New York prison. He reportedly watched the February 14th proceedings from a closed-circuit TV. Now, in the radio news, let's get to that, and we're going to wrap things up. I could have told you about this a while back. iHeartMedia, they're in trouble because of the fact that we had talked about when iHeartMedia and their podcast division decided to unionize. Do you remember when we talked about that? Because I do. And I told you this was going to be a big problem for them when that comes up to play. But the podcasters decided to go and do that. And then we go back. And if we can get back to the part where we had it before 2021, that's when it all started. The iHeart Podcast Union was launched. And then what they said was that there was a current policy of no promotions, no races. iHeart's average salaries, which at the time was $55,000 for producer, $70,000 for a supervising producer, $90,000 for an executive producer, 15% lower than what would be normally offered in other companies. So that's what they had there, which is another issue in itself. And now we're hearing issues from podcast workers now filing a grievance for unfair labor practice charges against iHeartMedia. Staffers who are unionized with Writers Guild of America East are alleging that management has engaged in intimidating behavior and encroaching on their rights to discuss their working conditions and their union during work break periods. Oh boy. So the charge was filed with the National Labor Relations Board on Wednesday, claiming that iHeartMedia violated Section 8A1 of the National Labor Relations Act. National Labor Relations Act, there it is, by restricting protected Section 7 speech, engaging in intimidating conduct, and by interrogating employees about their support for the union. And the iHeart Podcast Union represents about 100 producers, editors, researchers, and hosts who work on titles such as Stuff You Should Know, Behind the Bastards, and Atlanta Monster. Hollywood Reporter reached out to iHeartMedia for content, and the two sides have been negotiating a first contract since iHeartMedia voluntarily recognized the union in 2022. And according to a statement by the WGA East, those 2 years management has presented insultingly low salary, quote, and benefits proposals. Oh, iHeartMedia doing that? Oh, I thought you knew what iHeartMedia is all about. Of course they're cheap. Of course they're not going to go and give raises. I know that for a fact. I never got one when I was working there. Just tell you like that. The tension is spilled out into the public. The union's X account shared on April 10th that negotiators had waited 2 hours that day past the scheduled appointment for a bargaining session where they received nonsense proposals. A day later, the union took issue with the company renting a yacht at the Cannes Lions Film Festival. Quote, funny how a company that can afford to rent a yacht for celebrities every year can't afford to raise our salary minimums. Yeah. Radio people. That's why when you have a radio company like iHeartMedia treating their podcast, workers like shit, no surprise there. So the iHeart Podcast Union says it's distributing flyers to workplace about negotiations and worker rights during break periods since March. And the union writes, quote, when we have posted flyers about the union, management has removed these materials within the day, often within minutes. Union members have received emails discouraging this activity, putting out company policies without distributing literature in working areas, without acknowledging our federally protected right to discuss our working conditions or to distribute information about our union to colleagues. Non-bargaining union employees and managers have used common work areas to openly disparage our union literature and efforts to inform unit members. Well, iHeartMedia should have never gone with the union. You would have just been better off not to deal with it or let it happen. That was a mistake. And now that he lets us in here, these workers feel like they can get more entitlement to what they're going to have because the union is going to give them some momentum. They're going to feel like they're empowered by the union. So what is iHeartMedia going to do about this? I mean, what they should do in their full private equity corporate sense is unload all these podcasts and let them go. Like just sell the whole division off. They bought them a while back. You might as well go ahead and take that money and then put it back into the interest of your debt. That's pretty much what you should do. Bad. So remaining issues on the table right now, what are we going to have? Are we going to get something about, what are we going to do? Are we going to go ahead and, is the union going to go on strike? Are we actually going to have that? Are we going to get to that point? I'm sorry, iHeart Podcast Union, you should not be surprised by iHeartMedia doing what they're doing. Okay? According to 2 bargaining unit members who spoke with the Hollywood Reporter in mid-April, remaining issues on the table include establishing salary minimums and annual raises, which of course they're, insulting. They're not going to get any higher. Come on. This is iHeartRadio. They're in debt. They're in debt. They don't have the money to do anything like this. The 2 parties also continue to be at odds on the union's pursuit of a just cause provision, longer parental leave, and changes to health benefits. And yeah, you're not going to get this. What, are we going to have podcasters on strike? Oh boy. I just, Listen, it's one thing to go ahead and have this going on and seeing that the union is going to look out for the members, but listen to who you're working with. Hollywood is a different bag than the iHeartMedia company, okay? Than iHeartMedia itself. You're talking about some real schmucks working for that company, okay? Just saying. You're talking about some real corporate people with a corporate blueprint. They don't respond well to unions. They're not going to. That's all there is to it. That's how it's going to be. You're not going to win that war. Sorry. And the other news is, of course, Odyssey. They still have to keep paying down their debt. Now they're getting some layoffs. Here we go. So the digital editorial director, Susan Rosedeba, senior director of social content and strategy, Jessica Levy, have exited along with members of their teams. And they're also about just under 100 employees that have been affected. 2%, less than 2% of the total workforce. The majority of the cuts appear to be centered around a few corporate teams. There have also been at least one program and one on-air talent that were let go today. They're hardest hit with the corporate digital editorial and social strategy departments, along with the traffic weather information network. And Odyssey continues to show, how bad they're doing overall. But of course, Odyssey wants to go and spin this around. They say, oh, Odyssey's performing well against our 2024 business plan, and we're on track to emerge as a stronger and healthier company, well positioned for a bright future as a differentiated scale industry leader with the industry's strongest balance sheet. As we continue to make large investments and drive enhancements across all our businesses, we are simultaneously implementing some difficult but necessary decisions that will impact less than 2% of our workforce to best position our company for long-term growth. Corporate bullshit. That's all there is to it. We'll leave it there. That's the show for the night. Thank you for listening in, as you always do. And, so thankful for all of you to go ahead and check out the show on a regular basis. And if there's any more that comes up with the rap beef, the rap battle royal, as I called it, that continues on in the program, that we get on future programs to talk about, I will bring it up, and we can go ahead and bring it up and talk about it some more. So if there's any updates on this, I will let you know. Come back next week for another Broadcasters Podcast. Remember that content is king, and the control of your content is in your hands.